going deeper, finding that purpose, finding that life, finding that what's there today. Now, let me introduce you the guest for the today. It's Kim Shelar. She's going to be speaking about the new us in the new world. Now, the world is not the same as it was 6 months back. Though world never remains the same, it keeps on changing. But this shift of past 6 months have been so drastic, have been so uncertain. It was never imagined change. We as a humanity has come far from that. Now it's time for us to enter into the new world. And how do we enter? By finding the new us inside us. Now, she is a meditation expert, energy healer, mindset coach. Now, mindset is something that I'm really, really fascinated about because that one word can bring so much of change in how you perceive the things, how you experience the thing, how you improve on your relationship, just the mindset. So, and she helps you enhance the mind capacity in refreshing ways in corporate world. So over to you, Kim, to take us through the session. All of us are excited. I will be there present in the show whenever needed. Over to you. One second. You have to unmute yourself.
Yes. Am I unmuted?
Yep.
Perfect. Good evening, everybody. Whoever is tuning in from a place that it's evening, and good morning to everyone else that's from places that it's morning. Yash, thank you so much for having me this evening. Thank you, Santosh, for reaching out to me to be part of your ET 132nd episode. It's actually brilliant. I mean, it says so much that you've been consistent for 132 days. So that is a massive win. So well done to all of you. Well, everybody, let me give you a quick review or a background of why I'm here. Um, Years back when I was in my 10th grade, I used to see visions and I didn't know what to do with those informations. You're seeing things before it happens. And it was like, oh, it's a great thing. It's a great gift to have. But that was it. I didn't really harness it and use it. 16 years later, after going through the corporate grind and living life and doing everything else after that, I realized that there was a lot more. There had to be a lot more to my life than just going to the office, doing reports and performing operations, all of that. Coming to the last 5 years, that's when I've actually, what I believe, have been walking my path. Like very correctly, Yash said that mindset is the beginning of change. When we want to change, the first change begins in the mind. It begins in the thoughts. It begins in something that's up here. Everything that has been created today is created because it was created one day in a thought. So that is where all the change really happens. But today specifically, we're not going to really go so deep into mindset, but more into the steps that can shift that mindset, right? What is the reason? Obviously, when we're talking, and we've all heard about it, that right now with the world, there is no normal, there is a new normal. So for us to have a new normal, we got to have better skills. If you move from a car that was the manual car to an automatic car, you have to have the skills to adjust to the automation. You have to have the skills to the newness of that product. So similarly, at this very moment, as we speak, everything has changed in the world as we know it. And the beauty of it, it has changed across the place. So it's not that none of us know what we're talking about. That's the beauty of it. So that's the way I look at it, right? So when you're making that change, what are the things that we equip ourselves with? So if I may ask you all, and you can put your hands up or you can put in a comment, do you all have a pen and paper to run through a quick exercise with me? I take
I
a
do
S
have.
as a yes. You
I do
have?
have.
Great.
Yeah.
Yep, I get a yep from Vifak. Okay, I'm going to assume everyone has a pen and paper. If not, you can do this in your mind, but it's most effective when you have a pen and paper. And I'll tell you that right now, why. All of us might have been in a school that as homework, as a punishment, if we did something wrong, we were asked to write that spelling or write the thing that we did, saying, I will not talk during class, or I will not use abusive language. We wrote that 10 times. And the reason that you do that is when you engage your mind to your hand to the paper, you are anchoring that information very strongly in your energy. So the action of writing something is more than just writing it. It's more than just expressing it. It's about showing a commitment to your energy body that yes, I'm very, very clear about this, right? So if you have a pen and paper right now, let's move into the first part of redefining yourself. Now, when a situation comes, our mind, our thoughts automatically depend on the way, on two things. One is what is the stimuli telling us to do? So, if the stimuli is an external stimuli, it is the news, it is conversations from people, it is sessions like this, it is affecting the way you think. And sometimes that's a good way to impact your mind, and sometimes it is not. The second thing that your thoughts are formed is based on your memories, based on your education, and definitely based on your conditioning, which is a very subconscious behavior. So, when all of this is asking you to think, your thoughts lead to action. We've all seen that in the law of attraction, the thoughts become things, right? Why do thoughts become things? Is because when we think, that thought is fueling our action. That thought is fueling the way we feel and what we do about it. Let's take an example again. You meet your family after the longest time, you've missed them, that is your thought stimuli. What do? You go and do, you go and hug them, you go and spend excess time with them. In a situation where if the stimuli is right now, certain cases on COVID where we've understood the value of life, we've understood the value of family, that point in time, that's another thought that is affecting, it's your stimuli. And that allows us to, the behavior it ends up with is us taking care, hopefully. It is us valuing the people in our lives, valuing people in our family. And that is how it works in the very simplest way. So right now, I'd like you to take a minute, and in the current situation, whether it's business, whether it's home, whether it's health, or whether it is work, ask yourself, in the current situation, what is within my control? And the second segment, make the page into two and write what is not within my control. Because this activity, once you do it, you will understand very clearly what you need to work on next. So I'll give you a minute right here.
What do you write? What do you want to write us down? Is it you want us to write us down the situations or the
Anything. So, for
people or
example, what is not in my control, I will say, is the flight, so I can't travel. What is not in my control is whether somebody will invest in a service, because I don't know whether they will or they won't. So, anything that is beyond our control, let's just put it on paper. And when we say what is in my control, what's in my control is to, for example, upgrade my skills. What is in my control is to come and be part of a session like this. What is in my control is to get up in the 5 a.m. club and be part of your team. But what's not in my control is at 5 a.m., is the sun going to be up? Is the sun not going to be up? Is it going to be hot? Is it going to be controlled? That's not in my control. The other examples, if anyone is struggling to think, then break it up into, in my health, what's in my control, what's not in my control, in my business or work, what's in my control, what's not, in my personal development, what's in my control and what's not, and in career and finance, what's within control and what's not, and lastly, definitely not the least, in my relationships, what's within control and what's not within control.
for me, what's not in my control is much bigger list than what's in my control.
Exactly. And that's wonderful that you've said that.
Because when I go on writing it, it literally changes when I go about writing it. Just putting it into the paper, it makes that difference.
Exactly. It's so simple, but it's so powerful.
True.
All right. So I'm going to assume that each of us have understood why we're writing it, and you can continue adding to that list. Keep it, accessible to yourself. So, Yash, thank you so much for sharing that. That when we start realizing what's not in our control, there is a momentary shift that automatically happens, because we know at that very moment that I cannot control this. So, am I putting too much of attention on this? There is a saying that energy flows where attention goes. So, whatever you're putting your focus onto, your energy is going in there. Now, whether it's going to enhance it or whether it's going to drain it, that is your choice. Whatever you pay attention to, your energy is getting diverted over there. So if you are paying attention to things that are way out of control, the end of the day, the end of the hour, you're going to feel drained. But if you are going to pay attention to things that enhance elements of your personal growth, of your business, of planning, it's going to make you feel far much more rejuvenated and, definitely more successful. So the next step I'd like everyone to do is now look at what is within my control. In that list, begin to put a rating from 1 to 3. That if something is within your control, how much of attention are you giving it? 3 being you're giving it optimum attention, and 1 being that you've probably once in a while you're giving it attention or you're not. So let's take an example. If in the what's in my control is how I perform at my job, whether my job is, secure or not secure, that's not in my control. But how I perform in my job is 100% in my control. So are you giving your full attention? Are you giving your full involvement? Are you giving your full energy to it? Put a rating from 1 to 3.
One being the highest and three being the lowest, or
No, 3 being the highest, 1 being
okay,
the lowest.
okay. Just because we are doing this exercise, and I have a very interesting point to make here. Where do you put your emotions? Is emotions under your control? I understand for a fact that emotions are triggered by some other external factors, but is where do you put your emotions into? Is it the same thing that you can control on? May it would have been initiated from the things that are not under your control, but how do you react to it is under your control or not?
Absolutely. And I'm so glad you're asking these questions, Yash, because it will serve everybody. So, on a very blanket rule, emotions are a subconscious reaction that we have based on our programming, based on our thoughts, based on our memories. But when we're talking about gaining control of our life, and by control I don't mean in the wrong way, but in the way that we have accountability of ourselves, we of course have the ability to take stock of our emotions. Now, a lot of times, and I've written about this very often, that uh, everyone says, don't be emotional. It's very bad. It's not a good sign. And don't be emotional at work. Don't be emotional here and there. And the point being is that, yes, don't be emotional. Don't let your emotions take over your balance. But your emotions are always the guiding spots to tell you what's happening inside of you. So, for example, when someone triggers you, and we say, don't trigger me, when I get angry, you've had it. It is not about stopping people from triggering you, but it is more about saying, okay, when someone, say, raises their voice,
Abhi
it
बनती है.
triggers something within me. That means
ये
I have something inside of me that is unhealed. So then I need to go into my emotions, either by my own practice or get help from someone, and understand why does that particular behavior trigger me. So yes, Emotions are controllable. Emotions are within your spectrum of what is my control. But more than anything, emotions, it's not something that just blast out. Emotions are your guiding post. And when we begin to start looking at emotions as something that is telling me what's happening in the back end of my brain and my mind and my energy, that is when uh, there is a state of alignment, there is a state of control, there is a state of accountability. All right, I'm going to ask everybody now here, have we all made that list from 1 to 3? Yes, yes. Can we put in a couple of thumbs up, say yes, no, maybe? Okay, we have one yes coming through. All right, so now that you know what is great, that's a lot of confirmations. Thank you, everyone. So now you know that you definitely know what's not in your control, what's in your control. In the what's in your control, you know how much of time and energy you are investing. So if you have seen that there are certain segments where it's a 0 or a 1 or a 2, or the 3 can even be enhanced to something better, then let's make a plan for that. In that plan, and we'll do it right now, and we'll probably go to that the beautiful segment of anchoring it, when Yash will tell me when we can do that, where we will actually create that jump, we will create that quantum leap through a meditation. Yes, so then every single time you have a visual reminder of how you want to be in your best possible self. So that irrespective whether the world is a new you, it is a new definition, you know what's in your control, and that's all you are going to control. And when you do that, you have already put yourself 10 steps ahead of anyone else that's still trying to control the uncontrollable, right? So, coming back to your list, decide from here what are the aspects that you want to enhance, you want to move and make it bigger and better and more amazing.
So what you're trying to tell us is, out of the ratings, we have given the ratings. First we have listed down what is in my control. Then I've given the ratings of 1 to 3 to each one of the segment. And
Yes.
now what do I do? I select the three. What are the top three? matlab, for what I have
What are
given
the
the
ones that you're not giving your full uh, effort to? In 1 to 3, what's in your control? If
okay.
there is something that is saying, you're saying that yes, it is in my control, but I'm not giving it full attention, I'm not at my full potential in that segment, how would you want to move that? What are the things that you want to move into a full potential mode?
So let's say, and I'm pretty sure most of the people must have written that, and I've written that it's learning. It's
Mhm.
learning about the things that I want to grow in. It's learning about the thing. And I, for a fact, is giving a lot of time, but still, it's something that is not measurable, right? Like how much I have learned, because I'm not gonna go and write the exams, right? So when it comes to, obviously, is it so? How do you quantify that, and how do you kind of say about? Is it like if I put more hours into it, am I getting better, or is it deep learning concepts that are better? So how do you go about quantifying those things? Because I'm pretty sure learning, upskilling, this would be there in everybody's list.
That is a very good question, Yash, and I'm amazed at the way this is flowing. Learning, and when we're talking about quantifiable, is when we want to quantify something, there is an element of validation that we're looking at. That
True.
okay, if I have put myself as a PhD, people will think that I've done a lot. Your biggest test of have you learned enough or have you learned more is the number of people you've been able to impact with that knowledge.
True.
So irrespective, if I'm a teacher who teaches basics, ABCD, I can still teach all the kids that are getting born. Every child that has to go to school or has to become a doctor or an engineer or an artist has to learn ABCD from me. And that is not quantifiable, because that is where we realize and remember this is in my control. I'm great at teaching people basics, for example, and I will ensure that I do that to my best. I don't want to be, for example, someone who is teaching in Harvard. because then that gap is so big at my current state right now that I will probably stop doing what I'm best at. So the idea is to take those steps step by step and say, okay, this is what I'm great at. I am consuming a lot of knowledge. Best way to check whether that knowledge is good or not is to apply it immediately. And to
True.
apply it immediately is to say, okay, fine, I've learned a new skill, I've learned a new technique. Is there someone that can benefit from this? The minute somebody benefits from this, you know you've gone and upgraded yourself. And then based on those experience, you will be guided by the experience, by the people, by the need, by the gap, and say, okay, now I need to learn and upscale in this particular skill. And you will find yourself upgrading way much faster, way much quicker, and way more qualitatively.
That's so true because I think a couple of days before I was going through this article, and there was a study from how the learning retention happen, and the two main factors how you can retain what you have learned is, one is go about teaching it, or the second way is go about having discussions on this particular thing about people. So that is the two major retention factors of
Exactly.
how you can retain what you have learned. And that's so true. If you go on teaching people or go and applying that, that's the maximum retention happen. So I think people have already completed what you have said, so we can go about
Awesome.
discussing it.
All right. So, does anyone else want to share, things on their list that they want to have a review, or just get a different perspective from me and Yash on how you can upgrade it?
Yeah, you can raise your hand and we can take the live queries if you have, because this exercise is going to relate to what we're going to be doing next after this. I don't
All
think
right.
so.
I'm
We
not
can
able
go
to
ahead.
see. Yeah, no problem. Oops. 1 second. Done. So, all right, what we'll now do is I'd like you all to, I'm going to teach you something which is called anchoring in your mind, right? We're going to do a meditation where whatever you've decided to move to, whatever is the result that you have, we'd walk through a meditation. So you go to that space, that time into the future, you experience it, you see the benefits of doing what you're doing, and then you come back and begin to start living it. Why is that important? Your mind does not have the ability to differentiate in something that you're just thinking of and something that you're actually experiencing. Like, for example, if I told you right now, just think that you have a cold glass of, you're drinking a cold glass of a mojito or any other, drink, you notice that your saliva will pass through your throat. That's because that is how powerful instruction is to that is how powerful instruction is to the mind. So when you give your mind an instruction that, all right, I am saying that I have upskilled myself, I am saying that I have even got myself a promotion, and because of that I'm so excited, I'm so happy, I'm feeling very people are congratulating me, this is what I'm feeling. That is when your mind says, oh, has this already happened? And then it begins to fill that gap in the now and what you already perceived. The idea is to go ahead and keep doing that meditation every single day. So we will go through it right now, and at the end of it I will even leave with Yash a link of a recording. So if you'd like to practice it as well on a daily basis, you have access to that as also. Okay, so if everyone's ready, just let me know and I will walk you through the
I
meditation.
would appreciate if everybody can start the videos so that we can see we're actually having the meditation. So please start on your video. Let's have the group meditation right now. And it's live streaming on YouTube. So if you have concern about your video, so just be cautious. But yeah, please go ahead.
All right, I'm just getting some music up. Okay, so I'd like you all to close your eyes, sit in a comfortable position. And while you sit in your comfortable position, just bring to mind what are those three aspects, four aspects as such, that you would like to change and upgrade in your life. Okay, so as you bring that to mind, I'm just going to set you up right now. Is the music fine, Yash? Too loud, too
Just,
soft?
just a bit of a volume will help.
Okay. This is good.
Yep.
All right, now. So everybody close your eyes. And as I walk you through this process, I set the intention for you to see, feel, and experience yourself in your best potential. So as you close your eyes, allow your body to relax. Allow your mind to just calm down. Observe the sounds around you. Observe the breeze in your room, if there is any, and just be an observer. And now ask you to take a slow, deep breath. And as you breathe out, let your shoulders relax. And take a slow, deep breath in again. And now, as you relax, let your forehead and your jaws relax. I'd like you to think of three things, three people, three experiences that you are thankful for today. And just say thank you. If nothing comes to your mind that has happened today, then you can think about something from yesterday or the day before. And say a big, heartful thank you. And now ask you to bring to mind people or situations that were not up to your expectation, and send forgiveness to these people, to these situations. Now slowly, as I count from 5 to 1, I'm going to take you to a deeper state of yourself. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. You're now in a deep state of your being. I'd like you to bring to mind that ideal self that you'd like to improve on, that segment, that element, that value that you would like to improve. How does it feel when it actually happens? Imagine when this did happen, what are you saying to the people around you? How are you announcing it to your friends, to your family? Do you notice the smile on your face? Do you notice the excitement in your voice? When this situation occurs, when this upgrade happens, notice what you're wearing. Who is that first person you pick up the phone to call and share this news with? When this upgrade happens, when you take control of what's in your control, how do you feel being in control? I'd like you now to imagine that you are in your favorite place in nature. Could be a beach, could be the top of the mountain, could even be your balcony that allows you to see nature. And in that moment, you connect to nature, you connect to the source, the universe, or God, whatever you believe in, and say thank you. Thank you for creating the path, creating the direction, creating the guidance. All you had to do was set the goal, set the desire, and the universe and God directed you to it. That's right, it's that simple. And now, imagine yourself in this mode of your upgraded self. Observe what you're wearing. Listen to the sounds of people congratulating you, or the moment of you sharing your news with your friends, your family, anyone significant. And take an image of yourself like it was a selfie. So every time you thought of this image, your mind will run back and create that upgraded person. So go ahead and take the picture. And I'm slowly going to bring you back to this moment by counting to 5. Only knowing and reminding you that you have sown the seed for your upgrade. So 1, 2, 3, getting ready to open your eyes. 4 and 5. Slowly open your eyes now.
Wow, loved it. One thing is pretty sure, I want to go to that upgraded phase so fast now.
And the beauty, thank you everyone who participated and took the time off to do this. The beauty of this, Yash, is that when your mind can see it and you can see it clearly, things just open up. And I'm not even kidding. I have had personal experiences, I've had experiences with my clients, that when you start seeing it, believing it in your mind's eye, things just open up out of nowhere, absolutely out of nowhere. That's right, Himanshu, your alpha state. Alpha state is where that's where the magic begins to happen, because we connect to the left and the right hemispheres of our brain. We connect to the logic and the creative aspects of our brain, and it is definitely the place where magic happens. So yes, there are a lot of thank yous. Thank you, everybody. You did not want to open your eyes. I know it's a beautiful meditation. The sounds are so so calming. And how often do we really take the time and say, let me just sit and relax and see something. So, if I may share here, Yash, we were talking before we got on. The benefit of meditation is astounding, is absolutely astounding. Thank you from Santosh. You're welcome, Santosh. Meditation is that one element that I would recommend and suggest that bring it into your daily life, because when you put that meditation in your daily life, whatever you're working towards, whether it's health, whether it's work, whether it's personal upgrade, it's family, when you involve your mind, your subconscious, the universe, and God, you're getting there way faster. So then suddenly, you meet somebody after a month and there's so much that's happened because you're not randomly running, door to door, left to right. There is a very clear road that you've said that this is where I want to go. This is my goal. This is my desire. You've meditated on it. Two things will happen. If you're ready for it, it will come into your life, like literally fall into your lap. If you're not ready for it, you will get the lesson for it. You will get the opportunity to learn it. So that is the beauty of integrating meditation.
I have a question here,
Yes,
and
yes.
I want to understand from like I'm very much fascinated about the whole concept of meditation and how the transformation comes in people's life who kind of falling, and there is this whole awakeness that is happening in this universe about this whole concept. Now, there's a very subtle line between the forced meditation and the actual meditation. What is being practiced is people force themselves to go into the meditation. It's like I have to do that half an hour, or I have to do that 1 hour of meditation. Now, what's the difference between these two meditation? When you force your mind to be into that, into that cage, or you just let it be open in the meditation state. And how has been your meditation journey like? When did you started doing it, and where are you in your meditation journey? Because when you are so vocal and when you're preaching world about meditation, how has been your experience doing that?
So I'll come to each of your questions. The first is meditation cannot be forced, like you very correctly said. It cannot be forced because when you're forcing an activity, if you go to brain waves, at this moment, all of us who've done a meditation, our brain waves is at something called the alpha brain wave, where our mind is relaxed, right? When we're forcing something, when we're actively thinking, um, uh, our brainwave is at a state called beta. So if we're forcing ourselves to meditate and the action is of force, you're not going to go into alpha, you're going to be into beta. So there is no meditation that's happening there. The idea of, getting oneself into meditation, the most easiest way to drop your brainwave is to do a deep breathing activity. You do the same deep breathing that we do, slowly, or you go ahead and you start doing a deep breathing, which is the anulom vilom. You can do the square breathing. Any sort of breathing will lower your brain waves. When you're in that brainwave mode, that is when you can start the meditation. Coming to your second question, Yash, like I mentioned, when I was in school, I used to love meditating. So we would have our teachers, post our breaks, because everyone is so excited and full of energy. We used to go ahead, and she used to make us meditate back then. And that time the meditation was so simple as close your eyes, listen to the birds, listen to the fan. And I used to just love it. By the time I reached my 10th grade, my 10th standard, I started seeing visions. And my aunt, who I was very close to, she told me that in our family, my mom's side, in generations ago, there were a lot of our grandmothers who had the gift of seeing the unseenable things, right? So she told me you need to develop on it. And that's when I started my practice. And for all these years, I've been doing meditation for myself. And then obviously in the last 5 to 8 years, that's the time that I said, okay, fine, this is who I really am. This is what brings me joy. This is what brings me that sense of, I can do it all day long. And that is where I knew that, okay, this is what really matters. Coming to a couple of questions where someone asked me, what kind of meditation is this? It is just a meditation of creating your ideal you, where it's a shortcut meditation, so to say, where we go through all the layers of gratitude, because gratitude puts you in a very high vibration. We go through a layer of forgiveness, because you can have gratitude, but if you have a lot of grudge and anger in your heart, that gratitude is not going to raise your vibration, because forgiveness is going to constrict it and block you from abundance, right? So that is why we do forgiveness, so that you let it and expand from your body and just release. And that is where we then move into the third aspect, which is an ideal self. What is it exactly that you want to attract into your life? And then allow the blessing of a higher source to come, to come up into your life, whether it is the universe that you believe in, whether it is any particular God that you believe in, whatever is your comfort of that, yes, there is something above me that is, guiding me and showing me the way. So that is what the meditation is. So yes,
I,
Yash.
I I think this is the first time I'm going into about the layering concept. So I have like you go about you do all these things. You do gratitude, you do forgiveness, but I didn't knew there were so many layers and there's particular patterns that people follow. But this is so good to hear. The next question is about the meditation aspect. Like it's a very old skill, and it has been practiced since centuries in different mythologies, and it's been still continued. So there is something powerful about it. Now, how do you go about communicating it to the generations that are coming up? So because they it's hard to put it across the people in a way where they enjoy it. So what I'm saying is there are different forms of meditation that are coming, like dance meditation, fun meditation, and all sort of different things, and different trees are forming or different branches of meditation. How do you see, is that the way forward into this, or is it diverting from what it was actually meant to be?
So, first of all, you've got amazing questions. I'm going to stop saying amazing question now, because it sounds like I'm saying that to every question, but really well done, Yash. So first, let's go into what is the purpose of meditation, right? The sole purpose of meditation is awareness. Is
Wow.
awareness of your inner world, is awareness of what the outer world is doing to you. So if the entire intent of doing a meditation is to have that self control, but not in a controlling way, is to have that self awareness in the right way, right? Is to have the feeling that, okay, I know why something is happening. I know when I need to respond. I know when something is scary. I know whether, that gut feeling, should I take this plane, should I take this road, should I invest with this person? Everything that happens in our life, we get a sign before it occurs. The only problem is that we are not attuned to listening to that sign. Meditation as a sole purpose is to connect to that sign. So let me just take one step behind and say the bigger purpose of meditation, right? Now, maybe some of us believe in this and some of us don't, and it's absolutely fine. But all of us as a soul come to the earth to do a certain task. We either come to clear a karma, or we come to do an amazing and massive impactful journey for humankind, right? So when we come as a soul, we don't remember why we came. The irony of it, because if you're a little child and you've come to change the world, the child is going to get so worried that, oh my god, itna kaam hai, right? I've got too much to do. So that is why in the process, life keeps giving us suggestions, keeps giving us reminders that, okay, you need to do this and you need to do this, and this particular incident is going to bring out this experience within you, or this curiosity within you. So all of that just leads us back to our purpose as a being, as a soul, as a person. So we all have to have a purpose here that makes us money, that brings us wealth, that brings us prosperity, that allows us to enjoy, food and travel and relationships, because that is what the physical dimension is, to, that everything is tangible in the world. But the idea is that we also have a soul and we have a purpose. And that is why, when I'm sure you've heard this, and Yashin, you've probably spoken about it, that when you make your work your service, that it's coming from a place of, pure purpose, success is just walking with you. You don't have to chase success. The success starts chasing you because it aligns to who you are as a person. So that is when we start, going into meditation, we allow our intuition, we allow our soul to remind us what we're supposed to do. So that is the main purpose of meditation. When we're doing dance meditation and different kinds of meditation, we're obviously not, it's not leading us to understanding and listening to the answers, but it's leading us to a space of alignment and happiness, which is also good, which so many people have forgotten in the normal routine. So, depending on what and which stage and phase we are in life, any meditation is good. For so many of us, for a lot of moms, cooking is meditation. For a lot of uh, children, youngsters, dancing is a meditation because it allows them to release the stress. It allows you to just be in that moment, and being in that moment is also awareness, is also meditation. So, depending wherever and whatever is the stage, the phase, and what we're seeking, any kind of meditation is good.
Thanks for this and for the fact that I'm enjoying this conversation so much because you're giving me so good responses to my questions. So, like, so many new insights are coming out, and and one of the fact is actually goes that like you're born twice in your life. The one that you are actually born, and the ones you just said when you find your purpose and you find your why in your life, and that was pretty evident.
Absolutely.
To all the YouTube viewers who are watching us live right now, I'm gonna ask the last move. If you have any questions, go into the comments in the YouTube so we can take on the questions from there as well. My last question for you: what's an ideal world for Kim like?
Wow. So, my ideal world is very simple. It's a world where I experience freedom. I experience freedom of judgment. I experience freedom of finances. I experience freedom of any sort of restriction. So, and freedom in relationships and communication. And I'd like to talk on that for just a couple of minutes, if
Yeah,
that's
for
okay.
sure.
A lot of times we have forgotten how to express ourselves. And that is one of the biggest blocks in abundance. All of us talk about manifesting, and yes, but we're not manifesting. Abundance is not away from us, abundance is within us. All we have to do is to clear the dirt that is on top of the abundance. Is like, think of yourself that there is this when you go underwater, what is that called, the
Deep
treasure hunt?
diving, deep
Yeah,
diving.
and we find those big boxes
Uh,
of gold and everything,
yeah,
the
yeah.
chest, right? The chest that you find underground. Similarly, abundance is within your system, it's within your core. What we have to find is to go underground to find that abundance. And that process is again going inside, is going and clearing blocks in our mindset, going and clearing blocks in the way we look at people that that have shown us lessons, that have hurt us in the process, but that is just to show us a lesson. So how we deal with that, layer by layer, removes the dust, the blockages from going into that abundance.
And it's
When
not
we
one thing is it's not about just the people because it's about how we look at the world as well. Because uh,
yes,
what I think one of the drastic changes that happened in my life during this empowerment talks is looking at everything in the sense of abundance, where I was not looking at the things in this that space. Every other thing that I look at right now, if I have to jump into a business opportunity, if I have to jump, so I look at it at a place of abundance rather than okay, there are so many players already. So that's a very good shift that we are talking about. Yeah, please go ahead.
yeah. So when we start understanding, when I say freedom of communication and relationship, is to say that what are the things that block me? If I think that, oh Yash, I want to say this, but I've been taught to say something else, I am creating a mismatch within my system. And because I'm creating that imbalance, I am blocking myself from abundance. So that is, one of the biggest takeaway I would love everybody who's listening now and who's going to listen into later is to make that part of your list every day. That is there any relationship, is there any person that I really want to say something to, but I'm saying something else. Now, I'm not saying that if you want to say something that means you want to abuse somebody or be rude, please go ahead and do it. No, you cannot give out a vibration that you don't want to attract. The universe works in the math of multiplication. What you give
Wow.
gets multiplied and comes back to you. So if you want abundance, and if somebody's taken your abundance away, you need to bridge that gap, bridge that energy exchange with abundance and peace. So that energy exchange, that loop gets closed, and then you clear and you go deeper into yourself and access your chest of abundance. So
I
that
love
is,
I love when you said about the math of multiplication. That just three words of how universe works with you. It's so good to hear.
and Yash, trust me, there are people out here, Santosh and Avil have known me for a while. I can tell you that that is my experience. I have not heard this statement anywhere, but I have seen that when I change the way my emotions work, the way I look at people, the way I forgive instances in my life, things expand for me. So if people want abundance, but they don't want to pay bills, or they don't want to pay cleaners, or they don't want to that, abundance is not going to come your way. It's as simple as that. It Our behavior and our emotions have to be very congruent to what we want to attract.
Loved it. Okay, just last question, not the question, but what was your experience coming to Empowerment Talks and having this conversation with the audience initially, and then jumping into conversation with me, and some beautiful words for this platform?
Oh, I think you guys are doing honestly a fabulous job, because trust me, Yash, and even as a a meditation and yoga practitioner, I know that consistency is key, and consistency is really tough. So if you've been doing this for 132 days, you have my loads of respect, and I'm looking forward to learn that from you as well. But fabulous, fabulous job.
Yeah,
And
this has been one of my bestest conversations I had of all the 132, because the topic was so relatable, and I just want to deep dive into this topic with every other influencer or leader that comes in. So thank you very much. We are doing
it's a
it for
pleasure.
the community, and it's always pleasure to have conversation with such beautiful minds across the world.
Absolutely.
Now,
I'm going to send you guys the meditation of what we
yep.
did. In case at all anyone wants to practice it personally, then they can have access. Do you want me to put it in the notes now,
Yeah,
or
you can
should we?
put it in the chat box, and I'll
Okay.
put it on the YouTube as well. So thank you very much who have been watching us on YouTube. You have been a wonderful audience. Do share our content and do subscribe to our channels. And if you want to communicate to Kim, there's the in the LinkedIn description there would be
Can I
links to
just
connect to
see
Kim.
whether we've answered the questions, Yash? I think there were a couple of questions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so the Zoom will be open. So
Okay, great.